In one of my recent videos, I had the pleasure of reviewing the 2017 Gibson Standard Historic Les Paul Standard 59 Reissue. Today with me I have the 2016 Gibson Les Paul Standard, again with Standard Historic specs. But it is a 1958 reissue. In my previous video I discussed that the 2017 models are a mixture between Standard Historic and True Historic specs. This, being a 2016 Standard Historic model, shouldn't have any True Historic specs. Let's see if that's the case. There's an interesting story behind this 2016 Gibson Les Paul Standard. It used to belong to me and it was an impulse purchase. A good friend of mine walked into the shop, I think it was late 2018, and he said, "George, you wanna buy a Les Paul Standard?" And back then I didn't know what Standard Historic or True Historic specs meant. I opened the brown custom shop case, saw the gorgeous flame maple top, and 5 minutes later I was at the bank. I didn't even care about the chunky neck profile or the fact that I don't play Les Paul Standards, I play Les Paul Customs mainly. I don't even like rosewood fingerboards or the inlays or any of the specs of the Standard. But I took one good look at that thing and I remembered, hey, you know what? Slash plays these. You can be just like Slash. Silly, right? So I bought it just for the sake of having one. My friend took the money, he added some more and he bought the 59 reissue tobacco that I've recently reviewed. And so this is how I bought an amazing 58 Standard reissue. I kept it in the case for 2 years and played it twice. So naturally, last year I sold it as fast as I bought it. A friend of mine bought it and he barely plays it too. That's why it is in mint condition. Here's a look at the official specs we go in the Gibson Legacy Archive under 2016. All models Gibson Custom Standard Historic, and here it is Standard Historic 58 Les Paul Standard. As usual, I want to document the official listing and specs, so I have it for future reference. Here are some of the general specs like the long tenon neck joint, the mahogany body with 58 profile. Speaking of the body, one of the main differences between Standard Historic and True Historic specs is the glue used on the fingerboard and the top. Standard Historic specs use Franklin tight bond. True Historics use hide glue. Unfortunately, that's something that I cannot verify in a review like mine. At least for now. On to the next specifications, solid Indian rosewood fingerboard. What's important here is that the neck joint is fit using hide glue in both Standard and True Historics. Some of the finishes include the Bourbon Burst, the gorgeous Iced Tea, and here it is, washed cherry, the one that I have today. It also comes with a slightly aged VOS finish. Just like the 2017 59 reissue that I reviewed, this one is using custom Booker pickups with Audio-Technica trim magnets, pretty soft and measure around 8K. Another similarity with the 59 reissue, it has 500K pots and bumblebee capacitors. More similarities in the hardware as well, like the reissue Cluson Deluxe tuners, the ABR with thumb wheels bridge, and the reissue lightweight aluminum tailpiece. Next up, the plastics are where I expect to find some differences. The 59 that I reviewed had the True Historic, softer feeling control knobs. The 2016 58 reissue shouldn't have those. That's it for the specs, now let's see them in person. Here we go, one piece mahogany lightweight back or body, a two-piece gorgeous figured maple top, set neck construction, one piece mahogany neck, hide glue, long neck tenon, one piece Indian rosewood fingerboard, 22 frets, pearloid trapezoid inlays, a nylon nut and the Cluson Deluxe tuners. A set of custom Bookers with Audio-Technica trim magnets, ABR1 bridge, with aluminum lightweight tailpiece. Standard Historic specs. Here's a look underneath the neck pickup. You can clearly see the long neck tenon and the way that the truss rod is covered with a maple cap. A similar construction to the 59 reissue that I recently reviewed. Here's a look underneath the bridge pickup. You can see where the maple cap connects to the mahogany body, and the routing for the pickups. These are the Audio-Technica 3 custom Bookers. They have the patent applied for or PAF sticker on the bottom. They have regular nickel covers that you can easily remove for that open coil look. Measuring those custom bookers, the bridge is at 7.87K, switching over to the neck. Interesting, 7.87, the same, they are both under 8K, pretty soft as expected from Aunico 3 pickups, middle position 393. The pickup rings are pretty high, you can see that the pickup is all the way in them. If I put the bridge in place, the strings will fit just right on top of them. They are listed as 50 style cream in the specs. I'm not sure if the pickguard, the covers and the washer are the same as the True Historics, but let me show you something. Here are the plastic according to True Historic specs. First you got the pickguard, 59 True Historic and a part number. If you switch over to the Standard Historic, you got a different name, 50 style cream and the same number. This leads me to believe that the pickguard on the True Historic is the same, it's just brushed. Then there's the truss rod cover or the bell, True Historic, part number ending on 784. Same part number for the Standard Historic. The gold top hats are the only thing that I'm absolutely sure about. True Historic gold top hats and the part number ends on V. But if you switch over to the Standard, you have the same part number without the V. V stands for vintage probably. I'm 100% sure that they are different on the True Historic, they felt softer and they were yellowish. Let's move on to the switch washer. True Historic cream, it has a part number ending on C. If we switch over to the Standard Historic, same part number but without the C50 style cream. The pickup rings. On the True Historic it says True Historic cream replica. The part number ends on a V. Switching over to the Standard Historic, 50 style cream, same part number without the V. So, my guess is they are all the same plastic, just different aging process. Meaning that they take the Standard Historic parts and age them for the True Historics. Don't take my word for it though, I have to investigate further, but I'm absolutely sure that the Standard Historic knobs are not the True Historic ones. Could be a different plastic, could be an aging process. The thumb bleeders or the pointers are always welcome. The bridge is made out of zinc, nickel-plated Gibson ABR1. Gibson claims that this is 63 grams, we'll put that to the test. Thumb wheels for adjusting the height of the ABR. Gibson are calling this a reissue aluminum lightweight tailpiece. It's always a surprise when you pick one of these up. Let's weigh them. Gibson claims that the bridge is 63 grams. Liars, 55. And I'm guessing 32 grams for the tailpiece because I remember this from the 59 Reissue that I reviewed. Yep. Single bound 50s cream style. Nitrocellulose finish, and I always love the way that the aniline dye bleeds into the binding. It's not a bug, it's a feature and it's clearly visible on the binding of the neck. Tortoise shell side dot inlays, same as the 59 Reissue. Good job on the fret edge binding, Gibson. The trapezoid cellulose inlays look pretty good. I think they started to turn yellowish greenish, it's too early, but I see a little bit of coloring. Not as much as the 59 Reissue with the True Historic specs, but still. The nylon nut was a bit of a surprise to me on both guitars, but this is supposed to be historically correct. I was expecting bone. Here's a better look at the truss rod nut. It is vintage style, no tubing, one-way adjustable. Nothing written on the truss rod cover like in the original 50s models. On the newer models it has standard written on it. A reminder not to over tighten these two screws or you end up cracking the bell. 17 degrees 50s profile Gibson headstock. Les Paul silk screen with the golden letters and the pearl Gibson logo with the dotted I. Holy head veneer and Clouson Deluxe tuners. The nut is almost 43mm wide or 1.68 inch. The 12th fret is at 52.3mm or 2.05 inches. Thickness at the first fret 23mm or 0.90 inch. So far similar to the 59 neck. Thickness at the 12th fret 25.3mm or 0.99 inch. Again similar to the 59 neck. 12 inch radius or 305mm throughout. 24.75 inch scale length. Even though the neck measures similar to the 59 profile, the 58 is not as rounded off like the 59. It's like a D shape. And if you compare them side by side, I'm not sure anymore. Hand selected one piece mahogany body. This one has some interesting figuring as you can see here towards the middle. Here's the three-way switch cavity. You can see all the way to the maple top, no shielding. The electronics compartment is pretty neat. You have the 500K Gibson pot, Gavit conductor wire for the pickups, Bumblebee capacitors, and these are reissued, not the vintage stuff. Here on the top left corner you can see an R8, as in 58 reissue. I'm gonna move around the camera so we can have a better look at it. The routing for the output jack, the routing for the pickups, and the output jack has this cream rectangular plastic plate. The original strap buttons are still here, one on the back and one near the neck joint. The custom shop standards ship with these Gibson custom covers for the three-way switch. They also come with a plastic one, but I always like to install these because they're pretty. Gibson are calling this cover a 50s style black royal light. Here's a better look at the neck joint, the end of the cream body binding, overlapping the binding of the neck. Look at this, I love the difference between the binding of the body and the binding on the neck. So much aniline dye has bled into the binding of the neck. Once again, that's historically correct, it's not a defect. Set neck construction with a long neck tenon, 4 degrees angle of the joint, hide glue. It is one big piece of mahogany, no scarf joints near the headstock. I think only the wings on the headstock are probably glued. Unfortunately for me, no volute on this one, that came later in the 70s. The tuners are historically correct, Clouson deluxe. And the big difference between the 2017 and these 2016 models, the serial number still has the R8 in it. Gibson removed the R in later models to be historically correct. R stands for reissue, 8 is 58, 6 is the model year 2016. Here's a look at the 2017 model without the R in front of the serial number. The 58 reissue weighs 9.09 pounds, a little bit heavier than the 59, which was 8.64 pounds. Nothing unusual about the case. Gibson had been using this for the custom shops ever since 2011 throughout 2021 when they switched to the black ones. I prefer these, to be honest. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 latches and the Gibson custom logo. Sturdy leather handle stitched, pink lining inside. The official name is Reissue Brown with pink fur lining. Here's what we have inside: the Gibson custom shop label, the Gibson vintage reissue strings label that we had on the 59, Bumblebee equipped with the bee being angry. It tells us what kind of capacitors it has in the electronics, the Gibson label that shows the social media information, some more information regarding the historic collections. Nothing out of the ordinary, I've already showed you this in the 59 video. It has the model and the serial number on the back. Custom shop certificate of authenticity in a brown binder. The model is LPR8S, which I think it stands for Les Paul Reissue 58 Standard. The pre-pack checklist with the date, late 2016, model number and serial number again. The case is made in Canada and this one still has the vanilla Gibson smell from the glue. There is absolutely nothing bad that I can say about this 58 reissue. It is an amazing Les Paul with a gorgeously selected figured top. Plays and sounds like a dream, and it's a guitar that you must absolutely have if you're a fan of the Les Paul Standard. Between this and the 59 that I reviewed, I'm not sure which one I would take, probably both because they're different enough. You see, that's the thing with Les Pauls, you always want more. My quest for better understanding the differences between standard and true historic specs continues. Every guitar that I got the chance to document teaches me something new. Having the chance to try out the 58 so close after the 59 review certainly helps me. So I'm extremely grateful that my friend brought this back to me and gave me the chance to document it. I hope someday I'll get the chance to document an actual 50s Les Paul Standard and compare it to a reissue. I hope that the reissues are just as good as the original.